Welcome to episode 7. Today, we're tackling the stigma surrounding addiction, how it affects lives, holds people back from seeking help, and what we can do to change these views. Let's dive in and break down the barriers together.
Have you ever, hesitated to tell someone your friend was in recovery?
Yeah, I think most people have at some point.
It's kind of crazy, right? I mean, it's 2024. You'd think we'd be past that, but stigma around addiction, still a huge EE problem.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's exactly what we're going to get into today. We're doing a deep dive into addiction stigma, where it comes from, the damage it does, and what we can actually do to change things.
It's going to be heavy, no doubt.
Yeah, but hey, important stuff often is, right?
You're not wrong.
So to really kick things off, we got to look back, right? How has addiction been seen throughout history? I mean, it's not like this stigma just appeared out of nowhere.
Right, well, for a long time, it was all about moral failing. If you were addicted, you were weak-willed.
Oh, so total blame the victim stuff.
Exactly. Punishment instead of help,
Jeez.
And get this, in ancient Rome, they thought alcoholism was demonic possession. Exorcisms and all that.
Whoa, seriously? That's wild.
Oh, yeah. Thank goodness our thinking's evolved some since then.
Big time. So when did things start to shift? When did we begin to see addiction as, a medical issue?
The mid-20th century was a huge EE for that. Research started showing the science, the biology, the brain changes addiction causes.
So not just a matter of willpower after all.
Nope. Think of it like this. Addiction basically hijacks your brain's reward system.
Interesting. How so?
Well, the substance, whatever it is, triggers this flood of dopamine.
Right.
And that feels good, right? So you want more.
Makes sense.
But over time, your brain needs more and more to get that same feeling. It's a vicious cycle.
Wow, that's heavy. So even though now we know the science, that stigma's still hanging around. How does that actually hurt people who need help?
Imagine this, you're struggling, right? But you're terrified to tell anyone because you're ashamed.
Yeah, that fear of judgment.
Exactly. So you don't reach out. And then there's discrimination. Jobs, housing.
It's like being punished for having a medical condition, basically.
That's it. And the consequences. Devastating. People with substance use disorders, they're way more likely to die by suicide.
Wow.
Think about Philip Seymour Hoffman. Incredibly talented actor, but struggled with addiction. That stigma probably made it even harder to get the help he needed.
It's a tragic story, for sure.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of difficult stuff, and I'm sure folks listening are thinking, what can we do about all this?
Great question. And the good news is, there is stuff we can do. First off, knowledge is power. The more we understand the science of addiction, the less those myths and stereotypes hold up.
So educate ourselves.
Exactly. And, words matter. Addict versus person with a substance use disorder. It seems small.
Oh, wait, so is that just like semantics? Does changing the words really change anything?
It totally does. Calling someone an addict, it's like their whole identity becomes their struggle, right?
Oh, wait, so what do you mean?
But person with a substance use disorder, it humanizes them. It reminds us that they're a person first.
Makes sense.
Right. And then there's advocating for better policies, supporting organizations, fighting stigma, all that. It adds up.
Speaking of organizations, are there any that have been particularly successful in this anti-stigma work?
Oh, yeah. One that's doing great stuff is Faces and Voices of Recovery. They use personal stories, which is so powerful, to break down stereotypes. And they've actually had a big impact on policy, too.
Wow, that's awesome.
Right.
So, wow, big deep dive today. We've covered how views on addiction have changed, or not changed, how bad that stigma is, and what we can do about it. But like we said at the beginning, this is just a starting point.
For sure. It's an ongoing conversation.
It is. So, to our listeners, knowing all this, how can you challenge stigma in your life? Just this week, find one opportunity, correct someone's language, share a resource, anything. Together, we can actually make a difference.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on your notification bell for more.